The Xylar fleet was in chaos. Ships that once gleamed with deadly precision now floated aimlessly, their weapons offline, their crews scrambling. Admiral Kirill's confidence, once unshakable, was cracking. He slammed his fist against the console. "Report," Kirill roared. "Why are our systems failing?" "How can this be?" Lieutenant Voro hesitated, fear in his voice. "Sir, it's impossible." "The humans, one human, inside the command ship. They are controlling the fleet." Kirill's eyes widened. "One human, one?" He took a deep breath, trying to regain control. "Focus, find this human. Do not let them continue." Meanwhile, inside the Xylar command ship, Dr. Elias Harper worked quickly. He had disabled the main weapons and taken control of navigation systems. Ships that had once threatened Earth now floated helplessly, following his precise commands. Every move of the alien fleet was now dictated by one human mind. "Lara," he whispered into the secure comm, "begin the secondary wave. Target their leadership ships. Confusion must spread through their ranks. The fleet cannot recover if we strike decisively now." On the bridge of Earth's hidden warships, Lara's fingers flew over the controls. Stealth ships slipped into attack positions, while drones and missiles prepared to strike key alien vessels. The Xylars had expected humans to hide, to beg, to fail. Instead, the humans were hunting them. Kirill's fury grew as reports poured in. One by one, ships were immobilized or forced to retreat. Sensors flickered. Communications were lost. Panic spread among his officers. How can this happen? How can one human do this? Voro shook his head. "Sir, they are controlling everything. Our ships, our weapons. We cannot fight back." Kirill's mind raced. His entire career, his fleet, his pride, all seemed meaningless. He had underestimated a species he had dismissed as weak, and now he faced the impossible. Humans had turned the tide of the war. Elias knew the danger was far from over. The Xylar Admiral would act and more forces could arrive. But for now, one move could change everything. He focused, linking his commands with the Earth fleet in orbit. Ships moved in perfect coordination, unseen, unheard, untouchable. Across space, the Xylar fleet's formations broke completely. Warships collided, some drifting into asteroid fields, others disabling each other accidentally. Every action was predicted, every movement controlled by the human who dared to challenge an entire empire. Kirill's voice trembled as he barked orders. "Concentrate fire! Target the intruder! Find the human controlling us." Inside the control room, Elias smirked faintly. "You are too late. The fleet is mine. The war is no longer yours to fight. One choice remains for me." He paused, his mind weighing the future. Destroy the Xylar fleet completely, leaving no survivors? Or disable their weapons and force a surrender, teaching the galaxy that humans were not just fighters but clever strategists as well. His decision would echo across the stars, changing the fate of countless lives. Lara's voice came softly through the comm. "Dr. Harper, the fleet is reacting perfectly. But your choice, it will define everything." Elias nodded. "I know, and it must be done carefully. They cannot be underestimated again. One mistake and everything fails. One mistake, and humans lose their chance to be seen as equals in the galaxy." The alien fleet shuddered as the human-controlled ships executed flawless maneuvers. Their pride, once their greatest weapon, had become their weakness. Every officer on the alien ships realized too late that their arrogance had blinded them. The humans, small, fragile, and underestimated, now dictated the battlefield. Kirill's hand trembled as he watched his empire unravel. "No, it cannot be. One human." Elias activated the final sequence. Alien weapon systems shut down completely. Ships drifted, helpless and powerless. Chaos reigned. And in that moment, the galaxy learned a truth it would never forget. Humans were not weak. Humans were clever, brave, and unstoppable when underestimated. Cliffhanger. The human had turned the tide of the war, but the choice remained. Would Elias destroy the Xylar fleet completely, ensuring they could never rise again? Or would he spare them, sending a warning that would echo across the galaxy? One decision would decide the fate of billions. The final act of this interstellar war was about to begin. Silence filled the void of space. The Xylar fleet, once proud and unstoppable, now drifted like broken toys, powerless and confused. Their weapons offline, navigation systems hijacked, and morale shattered. The aliens had no idea who or what had defeated them. Deep inside the lead Xylar command ship, Dr. Elias Harper stood in the control room. One human alone had done what no one thought possible. He had taken control of an entire alien fleet. And now, the universe waited for his next move. Lara's voice came softly over the secure comm. Dr. Harper, the fleet is under your control. But what will you do? Destroy them, or spare them? Elias gazed at the screens showing thousands of alien ships drifting helplessly. His mind weighed the cost of total destruction against the power of a warning. Humans had proven themselves. But was annihilation necessary? Could fear alone teach the galaxy a lesson? He made his choice. Calmly, he sent a command to disable the Xylar ships completely, sparing their crews but rendering all weapons useless. The aliens could live, but they would remember. They would learn that humans were not weak, not primitive, and not to be underestimated. In the Xylar command bridge, Admiral Kirill stared in disbelief as his ships powered down, their systems frozen. Impossible. One human controlled us, he whispered. Pride, arrogance, and years of domination all crumbled in an instant. Lieutenant Voro shook his head. Sir, it's over. They didn't destroy us, but they proved something far worse. Humans, they're not weak. They're dangerous. On Earth, Elias deactivated the control links and watched as the human fleet returned to their hidden bays. Outside, the Xylar ships drifted silently in space, harmless but humiliated. Humanity had survived, and not just survived, but reshaped the perception of their species across the galaxy. Lara approached, eyes wide with awe. Dr. Harper, you actually did it. One human, controlled an entire fleet, turned the war, and saved billions. Elias smiled faintly, exhausted but resolute. It's never about one person or one ship. It's about intelligence, courage, and strategy. Humans are underestimated because others cannot imagine what we can do, and now the galaxy knows. Far across the stars, messages began to spread. Alien races whispered of Earth, once dismissed as weak, now revealed as a force capable of unmatched strategy and ingenuity. Fear mingled with respect, and the story of one human's brilliance became legend. Kirill, defeated but alive, pondered the outcome. They spared us, yet we are broken. One human changed everything. One human decided the fate of the galaxy. Elias turned away from the displays, looking at the stars beyond. The war had ended, but a new chapter had begun. Humanity would rise not through sheer numbers, but through ingenuity, courage, and the unexpected strength of a single mind. And in that quiet moment, as the stars sparkled above Earth, Elias knew this was only the beginning. One human had decided the outcome of an interstellar war, and in doing so, had rewritten the galaxy's future forever. Final hook. The universe had witnessed the impossible. A species thought weak had proven its strength, intelligence, and courage. And somewhere beyond the stars, countless civilizations now feared and respected the human race. One mind, one decision, had changed everything. You said, the story opens in deep space. A massive alien fleet surrounds a single damaged human ship. The alien flagship Voricon watches from a distance. Inside stands Admiral Threx, one of the most feared commanders of the Xylar Dominion. His officers laugh as they see the small human ship barely holding together. They call humans primitive apes, slow learners, easy to crush. But Threx doesn't laugh. He's silent. He's fought humans before, and he remembers what happened. He looks at the human ship on the screen and whispers, "They never surrender, not even when they should." Moments later, the human ship sends a short message to the alien fleet. You still have time to run. Everyone in the alien command bridge laughs. But Threx doesn't. His eyes narrow. He knows. When humans say that, something terrible is coming. Hook builds mystery around the Admiral's fear of humans, the unexpected war. 800 words kaleko or interesting hunachea or third person, style ma lekni ha, or simple basic English ka use karna ha. ChatGPT said, title, The Alien Admiral, warned them all, never challenge humans. HFY Sci-Fi Story, Part 1, The Unexpected War. 800 words, Third person, simple English, full suspense, and emotion. The story opens in the endless darkness of deep space. Stars glimmer far away like cold fires in the night. And in that darkness, war burns. A massive alien fleet, the pride of the Xynar Dominion, surrounds a single, broken human ship. Dozens of war cruisers drift in perfect formation, their heavy cannons locked on the wounded vessel. The human's ship is small, scarred, and barely holding together. Sparks flash across its surface where armor plates have melted. Its engines flicker weakly, like a dying heart. From the bridge of the Vorkon, the Xynar flagship, hundreds of alien officers watch the scene unfold. Pathetic, one of them sneers, his four eyes glowing a deep violet. They always break so easily. Another laughs, his long mandibles clicking together. Primitive apes. They still think courage can save them. The command bridge fills with cruel laughter. But in the middle of that noise, one figure stands still, silent and cold. Admiral Threx, commander of the Dominion's Western Armada. His name alone once silenced enemies. His armor gleams black under the bridge lights, decorated with medals earned through decades of war. But his eyes stay locked on the human ship. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't speak. Because he has fought humans before. And he remembers what they are. 10 years ago, Threx led a fleet against a human colony called Ardent Reach. He expected victory in minutes, but the humans didn't run. Even when their shields broke, they fought hand-to-hand on burning ships. Even when surrounded, they refused to surrender. He lost half his fleet that day. The Dominion called it a victory. But Threx never forgot the screams, the fire, or the silence that came after. So now when he looks at that single wounded human ship floating in the dark, he feels something his officers have forgotten. Fear. He stares at the screen and whispers under his breath. They never surrender. Not even when they should. A communications officer turns. Admiral, did you say something? Threx doesn't answer. His attention shifts as the human ship suddenly powers its main antenna. A weak signal crackles across the Xynar channels. It's a message, just one short transmission. You still have time to run. The bridge falls silent for a second. Then the laughter returns, louder, mocking, confident. Is that supposed to scare us? One officer says. Run? From them? Another adds. Their ship can't even move. Even the tactical officer grins. They're trying to bluff. Humans love drama. But Threx doesn't smile. He stares at the flickering human ship on the screen. He knows that tone. It's not a bluff. It's a warning. His hand tightens on the command rail. Order all ships to raise shields, he says quietly. The officers exchange confused looks. Sir, the enemy can't fire a single shot. Do it, Threx growls. Before they can respond, the lights on the bridge flicker. The ship's sensors begin to distort. Small flashes of light appearing around the human vessel. What is that? Someone shouts. Unidentified energy spikes. Multiple, no, hundreds of them. Threx's breath catches. He recognizes those readings instantly. He's seen them before. Jump signatures, human jump signatures. He whispers, they're not escaping. They're surrounding us. But it's already too late. In a blinding flash, dozens, no, hundreds, of small human ships burst out of the void. Tiny stealth craft, drones, and fighter escorts, all cloaked until now. They move with impossible coordination, weaving between the massive Dominion cruisers like hunting wolves. Laser fire erupts across the darkness. The Dominion fleet reels in confusion. Their massive guns are too slow, too heavy to hit the fast-moving human craft. What's happening? Where did they come from? Admiral, we're taking damage. Frontline squadrons are gone. Threx closes his eyes. The humans didn't send a distress call. They sent a trap. The damaged ship in the middle, it wasn't running. It was bait. He looks again at the screen. The human ship now glows with heat. Its energy core is overloading. He realizes the truth a second too late. "They're not dying," he whispers. "They're detonating." Before anyone can react, the human vessel explodes. An enormous flash of white fire that consumes the nearest alien cruisers. Shockwaves ripple through the fleet. The Vorkon shudders violently, alarms screaming. Threx grips the console as debris slams into their shields. On every channel, chaos fills the air. Alien voices shouting. Ships burning. The once perfect formation collapsing into panic. And over it all, silence from the humans. Not a word. Not a threat. Just action. As the flames die down, Admiral Threx looks at the remains of his fleet. He knows what's coming next. This was only the beginning. He turns to his terrified officers and says quietly, "You fools. You should have run when they warned you." Outside the bridge, the stars flicker red with fire. The war that no one expected has just begun. The battle still raged outside. From the bridge of the Vorkon, Admiral Threx could only watch as his fleet burned in the dark. Human ships darted like shadows, cutting through the larger alien cruisers with terrifying precision. Each second, another Zynar vessel vanished in flame. Every explosion reflected in Threx's eyes like ghosts from another lifetime. The noise around him faded. The shouts, the alarms, the chaos. Everything turned distant. Because as he stared into that storm of fire, he remembered. He remembered Ardent Reach. 10 years ago, Threx had been younger, full of pride and arrogance. The Dominion's council had ordered him to lead the conquest of a small human colony world, a planet at the edge of known space. It was supposed to be simple. The humans were new to galactic war, still using old ships and basic weapons. Everyone believed it would take one day, maybe two, to make them kneel. Threx had arrived with 100 ships. The human colony had only 6. The first attack was clean, perfect. Zynar cruisers blasted the colony's defense satellites in seconds. Then they fired on the surface cities, breaking the human lines one by one. The Dominion officers cheered. They called it a victory before the battle was even over. But then, something changed. The humans stopped retreating. They stopped hiding. Instead, they fought back. Threx could still see it in his mind. The sky over Ardent Reach, full of fire. Human fighters flying straight into impossible odds, diving at Zynar cruisers like they had nothing to lose. When their weapons overheated, they rammed their ships into enemy hulls. When they lost air support, soldiers on the ground kept firing until their rifles melted in their hands. And when Threx thought the planet was finally silent, humans rose from the ashes again. He remembered the last transmission from the surface, a voice full of static but clear enough to freeze the blood of every Zynar officer who heard it. "We are not fighting to win. We are fighting to make you remember us." That one line haunted him for years. Back then, Threx had ordered orbital bombardment. The Dominion reduced half the planet to glass. But even as fire consumed the colonies, the humans didn't break. They built underground bunkers. They used old mining tunnels to launch surprise attacks on the occupying forces. Entire Zynar divisions went missing. No one ever found their bodies. Every night, Dominion soldiers whispered the same thing. The humans don't die. They just disappear. Threx had sent scout ships into the storm clouds that covered the northern hemisphere. None of them returned. Then came the day the humans launched their counterattack. It was dawn on Ardent Reach. The Dominion fleet was in low orbit, celebrating. Threx was watching from orbit when dozens of small human ships, old cargo freighters, mining rigs, and even civilian transports, suddenly lifted off from the surface. At first, they seemed harmless. Most of them didn't even have weapons, until they exploded. Every one of those ships was full of antimatter fuel. They sacrificed themselves to destroy the Zynar fleet. Half of Threx's armada vanished in 1 hour. He barely escaped. The Dominion called it a strategic withdrawal. But Threx knew the truth. The humans hadn't just defended their world. They had made the Dominion bleed. Back in the present, Threx's eyes flicker open. The bridge of the Vorkon shakes again as another wave of explosions ripples through the fleet. "Admiral, our losses are..." Save your report, Threx growls. I already know. His second-in-command, a younger officer named Varric, stares at him. Sir, these are just humans. They can't keep this up. They're small, weak. Threx turns sharply, his voice cold as steel. Weak do you call?